Folks, if you woke up this morning feeling your world had changed, it did. President Trump did two things. Here domestically, he put the establishment on notice. You comply or you get the hell out of D.C. And then he put a written warning out. Your civilization collapse, your extinction is imminent. First time ever a president has done this. Our staunchest allies have been put on notice. Most of the world's waking up this morning and doesn't even realize this happened. They haven't read the written warning. This broadcast today, part of it will be here on Lisa's channel. Part of it will be on my channel, both on the public platforms today, because this was too much to put in one spot, and you're going to, sit back, buckle up, because what this man just did has everyone absolutely shook this morning. And that's the story I'll bring you in 1 minute.
Which we're back out here making the request anew for support, and we're asking the folks in the Senate, in particular the House of Representatives, to have our backs, to have the American people's back.
We should have Gavin Newsom's back. Donald Trump promised almost a year ago that he'd take care of rebuilding after Los Angeles firestorms, but survivors are still waiting for him to officially ask Congress for relief. It's long past time for Trump to wake up and do his job. I got a question for you, Gavin.
$2.5 billion effective immediately out of the communities impacted.
Where did the $2.5 billion in relief go? You want more? How many permits have been approved? Where is the billions in fire aid? But your hands up, asking for more. Always blaming Orange Man bad, huh? So typical. Everything as to be expected, just like our next story, always as to be expected.
To the housing that they so desperately need, then you cannot deem anything you're doing to be a success. We are going to take an approach that understands its mission is connecting those New Yorkers to housing, whether it's supportive housing, whether it's rental housing, whatever kind of housing it is.
Including homeless encampments. And so it begins. Zoran Mandami has committed now to stop clearing homeless encampments. Here you go, New York. And so it begins. And now the part of the story that you're not supposed to talk about. Every single person in the DC contracting world knew about. Everyone knew was happening. They bragged about it. They joked about it. It was only your and my tax dollars. What difference did it make? They built entire careers off of it. Then one person broke the game. And now it's out. And Trump now states, you comply or you get the hell out of Washington. And that's the story we're going to do right after this short break. And word from our sponsor.
Now, browsing the internet without a VPN is like shouting your password in a crowded room. The VPN that I trust is private internet access because it literally hides your IP address and encrypts your internet connection, keeping hackers and snoopers out of your business. But here's the cool part. In Canada, Google and Facebook block Canadians from accessing news sites, while a VPN can help you stay informed by accessing content outside of your region. Here's what I mean. When I'm in Canada, I can watch news that was blocked simply by connecting to a different server. Here in the US, with PIA, just connect a server to your home country and you'll see the content you're used to wherever you are. With servers in 91 countries and all 50 states here in the US, PIA helps you access content from anywhere on unlimited devices. And the best part, you can get up to 83% off with 4 extra months free and just $2.03 a month. Try it risk-free right now with a 30-day money-back guarantee as well. All you got to do is go to www.piavpn.com/Lisa Haven below to protect your data and unlock your digital world. If you want more information, click the link in the description box below.
And remember, this is just part one. part 2 we're going to do on the other half of Restricted Republic, which is my channel, Justus Knight. I'd love you to subscribe. She'll put a link just above. And in about an hour or two, we'll have the second part of this, which is how Trump just cracked D.C. Because he just kicked over the establishment. And the establishment's panicking. Because when you reach deep in and you warn them, you comply, you turn over everything I want, or you get the hell out of Washington, oh, my friends, they're all scrambling. And remember, this was broken by one man who cracked it wide open. And now the smackdown is heard all across D.C., and no one knows what to do. But first, we got to talk about something that Trump did here. Something that is going to echo around the world with this publication. The National Security Strategy of the United States of America, November 2025, and barely a whisper about this. Except the Financial Times, stating the U.S. National Security Strategy calls for cultivating resistance in Europe. Hold on that. Holy blank. Trump's national security strategy questions Europe's future as reliable allies. Questions Europe's future as reliable allies. Their economic decline is eclipsed only by the real and stark prospect of civilization erasure. If present trends continue, the continent will be unrecognizable in 20 years, or in saying that Europe faces civilization erasure, the Trump new security strategy places itself to the right of the extreme right in Europe. It's language that one otherwise only finds coming out of some bizarre minds of the Kremlin. Of course, we're back to Russia. But what's in this 33-page document, you might ask? Now, we can read it word for word, but you know that's not what I do here. No, we dig much deeper. And so I provide you an analysis, a deep analysis of what it's all about. Rather than going word for word, I'll read the opening paragraphs. Over the past 9 months, we've brought our nation and the world back from the brink of catastrophe and disaster. Over 4 years of weakness, extremism, and deadly failures, my administration has moved with urgency and historic speed to restore American strength at home and abroad and bring peace and stability to our world. No administration in history has achieved so dramatic a turnaround in such a short time. However, he has a problem he wants to contend with. And that's the EU and NATO, among many other things. So how does he state he's going to do that? Because Europe's been busy lecturing the world about democracy, tolerance, and again, whatever flavor of the week values Brussels wants to bestow upon the world. So President Trump just dropped the U.S. national security strategy. And let's just say, it reads like a warning label slapped on a continent headed straight for a brick wall. And unlike the EU, the document doesn't mince words. It basically says if Europe keeps doing what it's doing, the EU won't be Europe anymore. Now I know, how dare anyone say this, right? So let me get through it for you. Immigration and civilization erasure. Right out of the gate, the strategy warns that some of America's oldest allies, the same countries that used to anchor Western civilization, are staring down at a stark prospect of civilization erasure. Why? Because of unchecked immigration. Makes sense, right? Collapsing borders and the political refusal to confront reality. But it doesn't stop there. It calls out how Europe is eroding its own democratic principles. Not through coups, not through tanks in the streets, but through something far more fashionable: censorship. Government-backed, elite-approved, institution-enforced censorship. And Trump takes exception with this. And get this, many of the same elites cheering on the EU's speech police, you'll find them sitting comfortably inside the transnational organizations that love to harmonize everything except personal freedoms. According to the National Security Strategy, if Europe continues on this trajectory, the continent will be unrecognizable in 20 years or less. And based on the current headlines, that's not that far off. Nor is it disingenuous. But here's where everything flips upside down. Because Trump's new strategy doesn't just warn about Europe's decline. This is the shot heard around the world. It hints that Europe may no longer be militarily dependable for the United States. What's the consequences of that? Buckle up, man. This was monstrous for him to state. NATO weakness and U.S. distance from it. The strategy bluntly states something the media pretends not to hear. It's far from obvious whether certain European countries will even have the economic and military strength to remain reliable or viable as U.S. allies. Translation: they talk big, they hold summits, they get in front of the camera, they issue press statements, but militarily, some can't defend a parking lot with our equipment, our military members, our planes. And honestly, should anyone be surprised? We've seen that in action. Trump's been saying it for years. If you want NATO, then pay for NATO. All he's doing is reinforcing it, but many EU members prefer writing checks with values that can't cash or pay for a single tank. Now here's the controversial part. Then comes one of the sharpest critiques in the entire strategy. Europe should have a major hard power advantage over Russia. Economic power, population bigger, access to NATO, every advantage they need. But instead of acting like a confident coalition, the document says Europe lacks confidence and now views Russia as an existential threat because of their own weakness. And according to the Financial Times summary that I read for you earlier, the headline, the national security strategy, Trump's strategy, outright blames certain European officials for blocking U.S. attempts to end the war in Ukraine, which they have, even though a large European majority reportedly wants peace. So you got leaders ignoring their people, a conflict that seems to not end, and the U.S. wanting to fix a crisis that the EU seems not to want to fix. Sound familiar? Then comes the line that sent Europe into full-scale meltdown mode. The national security strategy says the United States will engage diplomatically to reestablish stability, prevent conflict between Russia and European states, and intervene politically when necessary to keep Europe from spiraling. Uh-oh. Entered the outrage. A senior fellow from the European Council on Foreign Relations, I think it's Paul Zerka, if I got that right, flat out said Washington is no longer pretending it won't meddle in European internal affairs. It's coming full scale in. Well, congratulations, you finally caught on. Because the strategy says it. We want Europe to stay European, and we're going to help you stop yourselves from destroying yourselves. And apparently that's controversial. So here's the big picture. Trump's national security strategy isn't a jab at Europe in actuality. It's a diagnosis. One backed by years of declining birth rates, political chaos, uncontrolled migration, censorship, and a security structure held together by duct tape and American tax dollars. Washington's tired of pretending everything's fine. Trump is tired of pretending everything's fine. It's not. Europe is tired of pretending it's still strong. And Trump is done pretending the U.S. has to follow Europe into decline, as if they're in control of anything. The document doesn't rewrite global strategy. It simply asks a painful question. If Europe won't save Europe, who will? And apparently, at least for now, the answer is, as it always is, the United States. But only if Europe starts acting like an ally worth having. Read it. Tell me what you think. Because that's my analysis. Now what is yours? Before we continue on to what Trump just did here, that has the elite scurrying around, wondering where they're going to get their next piggy bank. Because he is about to take it all back. Follow me over to my channel, because we're about to continue on. podcast part 2. Join us now. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.